feeling?
Hey, good morning, Chuck. Well, I'm doing better than most, not as good as some, but yeah, a little bit bored with wearing this collar and not being able to drive, but yeah, below the neck everything is fine.
We're glad to have you back, buddy. We missed you last week. We were all pulling for you, that's for sure.
Yeah, not sure. Wait, Ben's pretty noisy. I heard I was tuning up last night, and I noticed it was really noisy here, and then I listened over on the SDR over at KFS, and yeah, it was noisy there too, so there you go. TDE is up and running and happy to be turning again.
Yeah, hello guys.
Morning, Dave.
Yeah, good morning, Chuck, and good morning to you, Ron. Glad to hear you're back, and your voice is the same.
Yeah, that's the first thing my grandniece said when the doc said, well, he may have difficulty talking, so but that'll clear up after a while. In which case, in typical 12-year-old fashion, she said, holy cow, if Uncle Ron can't talk, he'd rather die.
There you go.
That's good, Ron. You sound just like the same old Ron, and that's what we want.
Yeah, really the only, compared to having the hips replaced, there's really not a lot of lingering pain at all from this thing. It's just the throat. I mean, you feel like you got something stuck in your throat all the time, and every time you swallow, you remember it. But yeah, it's still pretty swollen. But yeah, in the long run, better to get it now than to wait till other stuff stops working. And I didn't even realize it. I noticed a difference in the way I'm walking, and the doctor's telling me that no, it's your nerves to the legs are also been impacted. It's like everything else. You get older, things change. You don't even notice it, bit by bit. It's like putting the frog in the water on the stove. Anyhow, good deal, guys. Well, we'll see what conditions look like in U6F.
Okay, Ron, are you still planning on going to Portugal?
Yeah, I had to go ahead and change that because I still got a couple of months of physical therapy. So I figured it's best to get all medical attention done here rather than in a socialized medicine country. Anyhow, yeah, so I'm going to be going in August, shorter stay, August to October. But the extra plus is my kid brother, Ken, who hasn't been back there for 20 years, he's going to go back with me. So yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Well, good morning, W7MS.
Hi, Mikey.
Well, hello, and thanks, Ron, for the update. You never got back to me, but I understand, but I'm glad you're doing well.
Yeah, it's, I think it'll work out fine. The original problem kind of showed back up again about after I got home, so I was kind of unnerved about that. But, you know, the arm still works. It just feels a little weak at times. But so much for my weightlifting career. I won't be able to enter any more Ironman competitions, except for maybe the Sun Valley one. That one's got a lot lower standards.
Well, I think you're still good for a float plane trip out to Alaska and some backcountry bushwhacking.
Yeah, it'll probably be very therapeutic. All right. I'll stand by for the official net.
Got you on the sheet, Mike. W7MS K0DWC.
Well, thanks to Chuck, and good morning to you. And another beautiful day in northern Nevada. It's nice to see some blue sky.
Yeah, looking forward to some nicer weather for sure, at least this coming week.
Well, I think we're going to be okie dokie, but I'm going to stand by here because just like Ron, I don't know whether it's a choice between a second cup of coffee or off to the men's room.
Yeah, I'm going to head to the kitchen myself. We'll be starting the net here in just a few minutes. We get a few more check-ins, so everybody take a coffee break. K0DWC.
NW6 Able Queen Uncle.
Good morning, Bob. How you doing? You have a good signal over here this morning.
Very good, thank you, Chuck. Well, the sun's shining and the watts are going to the wire. I'm going to get some coffee, too.
Okay, very good. I'm going to head to the kitchen myself.
W6 SSP on board.
Good morning, Steve. W6MQI.
Hey, Dave. W6MQI, W6SSP. Hey, you should have gone to the Sonoma Swap yesterday. It was pretty darn good.
I'm sure they had everything I needed for the regen, too, probably.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that, but not that many parts. But one guy showed up with just a pile of Collins, you know, the St. James Gray Collins stuff, pre-S line. Just a pile of stuff that was very, very reasonably priced and in near mint condition. Boy, I was sure tempted, but didn't buy anything from them.
Yeah, I was going to go to the Plymouth, the military meet, too, and I woke up. Figured, man, I just got way too much stuff to do around here, so I ended up not going.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have a report on that today. Boy, noise is really high here, so I don't know how long I'm going to be able to hang in there, but you're pounding in here okay. One of the things I got at Sonoma yesterday was that Holy Grail ICOM radio, the 781. So, not from the guy I'd worked a deal with either. It was from somebody else that showed up. So, I had a really good day. So, I'm set for the year as far as new radios go.
Oh, cool. I know you've been wanting one of those. I remember when those things first came out going, holy moly, look at that thing.
Yeah, I don't know why. You know, it's just one of those things that you see something and you say, wow, that's cool, and you just got to have it. It was one of those. Anyway, I'll hang around for the net. Good to hear you on. W6MQI, W6SSP.
All right, W6MQI, standing by.
W6SSP K0DWC. I've got you on the paper, Steve, and congratulations on the acquisition.
Oh, thank you, Chuck. Good to be here, too. I missed you guys for the last couple of weeks.
You got a really good signal this morning, Steve, over here. We're pretty quiet over here. I heard you say you had a high noise level. Hopefully that'll go away for you.
Yeah, Chuck, you're partway in the noise, and the problem is on my end here. It's the neighbor with the solar panels. It really tears up the HF bands here, and when the sun comes out. So I may not be around too much this summer, but when the days get shorter and it's darker in the morning, I'll probably be here every weekend again.
Yeah, I know conditions can get tough in the summertime, but we appreciate any time you check in. So thanks for being there. Thanks to all you guys for being there.
WA7YBS.
Boy, that made a difference. That's a lot different, Henry. That Viking won. Way to go, man. Great job. Good morning, sir. I've got you in the 6th spot, Henry. WA7YBS K0DWC.
Yeah, it's a little odd that you have to, the Viking 1 doesn't have push to talk. And so, but I'm using a TUG stand, a base, a grip stand. So to turn the mic on, I have to grip it. But it doesn't actuate a push to talk. It's kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, thanks. Yeah, Viking 1, after changing out all the burned up resistors and getting the biasing correct. So there you go. WA7YBS standing by.
WA60PE.
Well, good morning, Tom. How are you, sir? In beautiful Richmond, WA60PE K0DWC. I got you in the 7th spot, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
Well, gentlemen, I guess we can get the net started. I've got seven people and me on the paper, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is a Vintage Military Radio Net. This is Chuck, K0DWC, and I'll be the net control this morning. And we're on our usual frequency, 3974 KC. And you guys know the spiel. It's a roundtable net, license hymns. Check-ins will be given a number, and I'll call for check-ins at the end of each roundtable session. If you guys have something for sale or need something, mention it in your term in the roundtable session. So anyway, here's the order I have it as I have heard people. In the number 1 spot is Ron in U6F. Glad to have you back, Ron. In the number 2 spot is Dave, W6MQI. Good morning, Dave. In the 3 spot is Mike, W7MS. Good morning, Mike. In the 4 spot is Bob, W6AQU. Good morning, Bob. In the 5 spot is Steve, W6SSP. Good morning again, Steve. And in the 6th spot is Henry, WA7YBS. Good morning, Henry. And in the 7th spot is Tom, WA6OPE. Good morning, Tom. So, is there anyone else that would like to be number 8 for the first round? Come now. Okay, nothing heard. Well, good morning again, and let's see, our rundown here this morning is the standard station, the ART-13, 200 watts, D104 microphone, inverted V, listening on the Collins R388 with the loop antenna, and that's the rundown. So with that, we will go over to Ron. Congratulations, Ron, on getting back. We're glad, and I will send it over to you, and you can take it. NU6F in the group, K0DWC.
Okay, good deal, guys. Chuck, Dave, Mike, Bob, Steve, Henry, Tom. Yeah, we're getting back to normal, and this morning running the TDE with the 4CX250B afterburner, about 200 watt carrier, and listening on the RAL, all still chugging away, and I knock on wood every time I fire up the MG set, and it just sounds as smooth as could be. like a fully oiled Hoover vacuum cleaner. Okay. Over to Dave, and yeah, likewise, missed the Plymouth swap meet. Larry and I were going to go there, but of course then the surgery came up, so we canceled that. So I saved some bucks. W6MQI and U6F.
Right, N6 or NU6F W6MQI. All right, Ron, and welcome back again. Glad to hear your voice. And everyone else, some stations are kind of weak today. The Nevada stations seem a little weaker than normal, but everybody else is fine. Again, this is Dave. I'm in Livermore, and we're on the TCS set this morning, running about 300 watts. And let's see. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Anyway, looking forward to a update from Tom on the MRCG meet. I got on Friday, tried to work some guys on the field ops, but it's kind of a wash. I worked Andy, who I thought was down there, and he ended up having COVID and was at home, so I worked him. And I worked Tim over in San Ramon, and that was it. Didn't hear a peep at anybody down there, so kind of a wash on that. But anyway, over to Mike, the W7MS, W6MQI.
Well, thank you, sir. And I think a little off frequency here. I didn't check things, but then again, it's only AM, isn't it? And amateur radio. W7MS, Mike in Reno. Good signals from all. Good morning. And also, I got back at 9 p.m. last night from San Luis Obispo, and I didn't see Tom there. Tom can comment, but there was no actual radio operation on Friday. I had been tasked as a substitute, and I said with a BC611, I think I was ill-equipped to be the central focus and net control for that, so it never happened, Dave. So there was nothing to miss because it wasn't there, but again, happy that Andy is making a rapid recovery from his second bout with COVID. But this morning running the ART-13, listening on the R391 like last week, and quite a hectosity on Saturday at the swap meet. The estate from Concord was late to arrive, so hence my late arrival back to Reno. It's about a 7-hour drive, so one that I would prefer to start early in the morning rather than in the afternoon, but we had to hang out. So we came back with a whole bunch of crap. And all I can say is I was thinking about it. There was nothing there that was like, wow, I've been looking for this specific piece for 20 years. But bargains were to be had, and we'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it a mystery because things are weird. So over to Bob in downtown Montague, W6AQU, W7MS.
Well, thank you, Mike. W7MS. W6AQU in Montague. Good morning to all. Ron. Boy, fantastic audio and signal this morning. Really chomping in over here. And again, Chuck and you also. Well, the sun is shining. I did return from the galley with a cup of coffee. And things are looking up here. I will keep it moving and come up with all the projects here next time. So, if I'm correct, I'm not going to be correct, so whoever is number 5, please come now, W6 Able Queen Uncle.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve, W6SSP.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. I wasn't sure if I was number 5 or not. K0DWC and W6AQU, this is W6SSP. Just north of Santa Rosa, running the usual Collins 32V1 and 75A1 as receiver. Into a dipole about 30 feet up, and D104 microphone. Well, I just wanted to get on this morning to give a real quick review of the Sonoma swap that was yesterday. It was, I'd say it was one of the best ones so far. About 20 sellers, a wide variety of equipment. People that did show up brought a lot of equipment and some really good deals. I was very impressed with one fella that brought a whole bunch of Collins pre-S line stuff, 75A and 32D stuff. He had a beautiful 75A4 with all the filters. I don't know what he was asking for it, but it was pretty darn nice, and I'm sure it sold by the end of the day. As mentioned earlier, I picked up one of my Holy Grail radios, and it's a solid-state boat anchor, the ICOM 7081 from about 1990. And 50 pounds, and needs a little bit of work, paid a lot for it, but one of those things that I've wanted for many, many years, so I was very, very happy to have it. Anyway, the noise floor here is extremely high. It's local noise, so I'll say 73. I'll be listening for a while to the stations I can hear, and I'm not sure exactly who it goes to. I think it might go to Henry, so let me pass it on to Henry if it's you. If it's not, somebody else break in. WA7YBS, W6SSP.
Okay, W6SSP, WA7YBS. Well, good morning to all. Hey, welcome back, Rod. You sound chipper, sound good. And TDE sounds good. It does sound a lot more punchy than it has, so that's cool. And morning to Dave. TCS sounds good. Mike sounds good. And I forget what Mike was running, but whatever. Oh, the ART13. That's right. And Bob. I bet Bob's on the that rig that runs the 3-500Z. 73 to Steve. You had a pretty good signal in here, but then if you can't hear anybody, well, that's no fun. Was 38 degrees this morning here, and it is partly cloudy. So another tumble back into spring, early spring, I should say. We were running 75 degrees, almost 80. Well, I think we did hit 80 a few times a week ago, but well, that's all over for a while. Back to the normal. But we probably will hit high 60s, maybe might hit 70 today. Anyway, not good painting weather, but it's getting here. Well, I'm on the Viking 1, off of the bench and on the operating desk now. After several burned up resistors, and they get the low voltage B plus from the high voltage B plus with a big old divider resistor that was set wrong. Had a slider on it, so it was set wrong. At like about 440 volts, it should be about 350. And of course the bias voltages were all screwed up because of the burned up resistors. So it pays to look, I was all concentrating on the audio section, which had nothing really wrong with it. It was all in the biasing and stuff like that. Screen voltage was off the map. So what can you say? Get everything set correctly. Anyway, I hope the Viking 1 sounds a little more punchy than it did before. And we're listening on the 1940, 49 probably, National NC 183. So with that, over to Tom. WA6OPE, WA7YBS.
Okay, WA7YBS, WA6OPE here, beautiful Richmond, on the usual World War II U.S. Navy setup, TCM and RBC, because I haven't fixed the RBB yet. Don't hold your breath. Well, let's see. Good morning to everybody. Signals are pretty good. A little bit of QSB on the Nevada stations. Everybody else was nice and strong. And morning to Bob up there in Montague. You're really pounding in here, nice and loud. Plenty of modulation too. Sounds great. Well, let's see here. Boy, talk about being out of it. MRCG, I didn't even know it was that weekend. I thought it was next weekend, or the weekend, first weekend in May, I thought. But see, that's what happens when you're out of it. Well, I'm pretty sure I didn't miss much, but it would be nice to hear a nice detailed report, like attendance, how many talks, and where were they? Did you attend any? On and on. And I wasn't aware where Andy had a COVID bout. See what I mean by being out of it? Oh, and another indication about being out of it, Sonoma swap. Didn't know anything about it. Forgot all about it. Didn't realize it was even happening until way after it happened. How about that? In a way, that's a good thing, too, especially when you've been cured and you're no longer addicted to acquiring junk that you don't need. And I had a really bad case of that for about 25 years. Maybe even 30 years. Oh, man. So, anyway, that's very good. Oh, and good morning to Ron. Yeah, you sound good, Ron. TDE sounds good. Glad you're up and around. And I assume it's still driving Miss Daisy. And let's hope that doesn't last forever. But anyway, hope for a full recovery. And hopefully see you and Lucky Larry at the MVCC meet Camp Plymouth next year. See what happens. And I'm hoping to see you guys at Minden. Looking forward to that. I'll be bringing some stuff to sell. Good luck. We shall see. Anyway, don't know yet what I'm going to bring. I was down there looking around and digging here, digging there. And we will come up with something. So, let's see, what else? That'll do it for today. I'll stick around for one more round. Back to net control, K0DWC WA60PE.
Okay, Tom, WA60PE, K0DWC. Boy, Tom, your signal actually picked up here. You're loud here. Sounding good and good and loud. Propagation must be doing some different stuff. But hey, maybe on the next go-around you can let us know how the TCZ is going, if you've done any more work on that. Interested in hearing about that project for sure. So I don't know, maybe you can comment here on the next round. But let me make a call out and see if there's anybody that would like to check in and be number 8, Vintage Military Radio Net. Come now.
W7MK8. November 6, Bravo, and 6, Boston, Canada, Texas.
Okay, there's Robert and there's Bill. Robert, I've got you in the number 8 spot, sir, W7MKA. And Bill, I've got you in the number 9 spot, N6BCT. So, Robert, go ahead and make a transmission there and send it over to Bill. And then, Bill, you can send it up to me, net control, K0DWC. So, W7MKA, go ahead, please.
All right, K0DWC and the net, W7MKA. Conditions don't seem all that great, so we'll keep it short. We're just on the GRC 46, the T195, R392 combination today, so only doing 100 watts or so. But we just copied everybody that has been up heard so far, and nothing, not too much else going on. So down to Bill, who I didn't hear when he checked in there. N6BCT to take it, W7MKA.
playing AM filter on this radio. Okay, we'll see what one of them do. You don't hear me. Anyway, that's up to
Okay, Bill. N6BCT. K0DWC. Okay, very good. Let's see if there's anybody else out there who'd like to check in and be number 10. Come now. Okay, nothing heard. So, let's see here. Well, like I stated last week, there's not a whole lot going on right now here. I've got a bunch of other stuff going on away from radio, but anyway, I've got some projects planned, hopefully for this summer, that I'm try to mess around a little bit with some of my Bendix stuff. I've got a Bendix MN26LB, which goes to 6 megacycles. I'm going to rebuild the dynamotor in that, kind of check it out and everything, and I've got the control box for that as well, so I'm thinking about, when that time comes, switching out the control boxes I've got for the low VLF stuff, and just plugging in the other Bendix MN26 and the adjoining control box that goes with it. Everything else should fall into place, so that's kind of what I'm thinking anyway. But that's a project that's up and coming, and I'll be looking forward to that. But anyway, let's go ahead and go back up to the top to Ron. Ron, I hope a motor generator. It does sound like a Hoover vacuum cleaner, but it sounds cool. NU6F in the group K0DWC. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good deal. Still good copy on everybody. And Bob, Robert up in Grants Pass. Wow. You know, when you first checked in, it was a week, and then your last transmission, I don't think I've heard you that strong before. So it was just pounding in, but just conditions. And yeah, on conditions, yeah, I just hear general background atmospheric noise, and knock on wood, no local QRM from QRN from miscellaneous consumer devices, and what's a big deal, Tom, about you're on the road to recovering from your radio collecting? Well, you know, it's like they say, moderation and everything. So, yeah, you'll probably just start collecting something else. And then we were on the sliding, smoking voltage divider in the Viking 1. Yeah, I don't know how many times cursed out those darn sliding adjustable ohmites. Control adjustments, and that's about it. After that, oh, there's another dead spot. Get a piece of copper and splice that section, and yeah, that was an idea that never really was fully developed. But glad to see you got that going. And yeah, no push to talk. What about, right? The days of having to reach over and throw a couple of toggle switches back and forth. And 73's to Steve. At least saved at 75A1. And Bob, yeah, you're sounding good up there, and I'm not sure which rig you're using this morning, but good deal, no lost dogs, hopefully. And Mike, I missed what radio you were on. And Dave, yeah, you saved some money by, I guess, not going to that swap meet. Yeah, as far as here project-wise, I've got, you know, yeah, the restrictions on no driving for quite some time, and which is okay. I don't really feel feel too good about that. No real pain from this thing. It's much easier to take than the hips were, but the throat is the only thing. It's still, it just feels like you got a lump in your throat. And there is a lump in your throat. Titanium's pushing on the back of your throat, so other than that, it'll be fine once I'm up and around and driving. It'll help a lot. But for now, I got a lot of people driving Miss Daisy. Got Larry and his daughter. His daughter Becky's coming over here about 8:30 and give me a ride. Then I'll take off to church, and I can kick back in the seat of luxury. Radio-wise, I've been working on the other MAB, the one that's complete, that has the right case, headset, everything, antenna, the works. Of course, not missing the bag, but I found a good one a good canvas ammo bag that's just about the same size as the original. But we're trying to work on making a power supply, a vibrator supply replacement. There was no supply in this one. The other one that I made, I had plenty of room, so I made it in a separate box because I didn't have the case. So this one here, I used PC board stock, soldered up a box that's the same size as the original, shielded, everything nice, feed-through insulators, and talk about Andy, I didn't know he had COVID. I emailed him earlier this week to find out if he had a manual on the vibrator supply for it, and he did. He sent it to me. I'm scratching my head how to figure out how to use the inline push-to-talk, the inline power off-on switch that's exposed to the earphones. All it did was connect the filaments, the 1.5 volt filament supply. So, I'm scratching my head at ways to do this. I can use a relay, I guess, but I'm not sure how they did that. And I wanted to make this just seamless, plug into any, and I made a battery pack with 3 lithium-ion batteries. And I love the creativity. He said, yeah, you wouldn't have figured this one out. So they used a relay with a 17-ohm core off of the 6-volt lead-acid battery, and that the core went to the lead that goes to the filament switch. So when you grounded, when you picked up the filament switch, it went ahead and picked up the relay, turned on the vibrator supply. And also, they picked 17 ohms for the winding, because it dropped to 6 volts, down to 1.5 volts. Well, that's pretty slick. I had a lot more flexibility. I just took 3 volts, and mine uses a lot less power, but it's a plug and play. And for the 67 volts, I used a neon bulb for the regulator. Of course, we've seen that before. And so I scrapped my Xeno diode, and I said, well, I like that. I'm going to throw a neon bulb in there. But anyhow, so that's the radio project. Okay, with that, go ahead and take it away, Dave. W6MQI, NU6F.
All right, NU6F, W6MQI. Yep, swamp meets. I'm usually pretty good about buying, or not buying it just to buy. So, actually kind of starting to get into the retirement mode where I'm not going to have a lot of expendable cash, so I'm trying to wean myself off of doing stuff like that. It's got to be pretty special before I open up the wallet and let the moths fly out. Robert, man, well, I don't know how it's going to sound next time I but you were pounding in down here in Livermore. The strongest I think I've ever heard you. Yeah, the GRC-46 sounded really good. And the same with Henry. The Viking 1 sounds good. Yeah, I forgot about the Viking. I had a Viking 2. I forgot that it doesn't have a push to talk. You had to throw some switches. I think I rigged something up on my Viking 2, so I didn't have to do that. But sounding good. And let's see, projects here. I got one antenna up for my 40 meter 2-element phased array. And I had some couple of ground rods around here that weren't being used, and I needed them for the antenna system. So yesterday, boy, that was an event, pulling those out of the ground. I used a floor jack and a 1/2-inch piece of steel with a 5/8 hole through it. So I slid that over the ground rod, and then when the jack came up, it would jam that piece of metal against the ground rod, and then slowly, about 8-9 inches at a time, would pull the ground rod out of the ground. So I pulled 2 of those out yesterday, and got one of them reset at the first antenna that I just installed for 40 meters. But I got one more antenna to install. That one's going to be a little more difficult because I gotta dig a hole and put a post in the ground. The first one already had that available, so I'm going to have to get out the roller hammer with my spade bit and start digging. Yeah, swap meets. I'm going to be at the N7 RCA meet, and I'm going to be looking for a junker, a part set, one of those LM or whatever frequency meter that I can get some parts out of. I want the capacitor out of it for a project, so I'm going to be looking for one of those. But that's about it that I can think of for what I might need up there. And I look forward to seeing Ron and everybody else at that. And I'm sure you've already heard it. Love them or hate them, MFJ is closing their doors. 50-some years, I think it was, they were in business. They are done. And like I said, love them or hate them, they did fill a niche in amateur radio. Not our kind of a niche, but it did fill a niche. Kind of hate to see them go. I hate to see any company go under. But with that, let's see. We'll set it up the mix. W7MS, W6MQI.
Well, thank you, Dave. W6MQI and the Sunday morning military net, W7MS Mike and Rena, running the Zenith contract ART-13 for Ron's edification. And good morning to Bill and Robert. Nice to hear you guys. Good morning on this beautiful sunny West Coast day. And great on the swap meet information, and I'll address Tom's question directly. And congratulations, Tom, on not even having it on your calendar or schedule. But I had a good time, and we had the Vernon Tom show. Mr. Thekin was there, so Paul and I had great conversations. Great conversations with Bjorn, Hank, Ryan, Mark, Craig, and all the associated folks there, and I got the true story and the details on Dennis Duval's passing from Ryan. So that was all interesting. As far as head count, I didn't keep track, but I noticed there was no attendance from the Cal Poly folks who were slated to join us, I think from the School of Engineering. And, that's Craig's show, so I'm never brought it up, but I noticed they were absent. But, so head count-wise, I can't really give you that information, but from a discussion presentation standpoint, Tom T.O.M. gave a dissertation on power line interference and his experiences in doing so with PG&E. And Bjorn gave a great dissertation on his World War I transmitter-receiver aviation radios and associated all the accessories, including the antenna reel and the intercom. So that was cool. He did a great job. So for me, it was mostly social and also connecting faces and first names to call signs over the years, especially from the southern folks that I've never really had an opportunity to meet in the past because of certain constraints on travel, etc. but that was great. And on acquisitions, well, I broke Dave's rule. I came back with another set of Collins TCS 12s from the estate, the remote, and priced very appropriately. And the totally weird thing is the 2BC 375s that came home with me. They were advertised for pre-sale. There was zero interest. That ties into the generational divide, the green radio folks. And when it was finally winding down, I said, well, I'll give you a low ball, and you can say no, but this is it because nobody's interested. So essentially I bought them for the VT4Cs, and that's assuming that the filaments that were intact when I left San Luis Obispo are still intact on their arrival into Reno, to be determined, but they all looked healthy. And it was, I think, the price of one VT4C on eBay probably was the purchase price of the 375s. And the irony was Paul Thekin came up with, he purchased one of the BC 191s, and suddenly he's looking at some accessory cases for those devices from Ryan, and Ryan said, oh no, you've also got to buy the BC 191 that was in the back of his car. So Paul went home with two of those. So archaic stuff, and a whole bunch of miscellaneous odds and ends that I've still got to unload, but great conversation, and some good conversations in the mess hall over, especially over lunch yesterday on the day of departure from the event. So that's the lowdown. I enjoyed it, and again, mostly from the social aspect. And I'd say from the estate in Concord, I'd never seen so many BC 1306s or Angry 9s in my life. And if I wasn't hovering on top of the TCS sets, I probably would have grabbed one. But I had one fellow extremely obese competitor in the TCS realm who I can say was extremely rude when he grabbed all the cables, more than he needed. But he was, I'm thinking of the future. I want to have a good reputation and not be one of the crazy guys who pushes his way through folks. But we all know those stories. So that's my only mild complaint. But it was a good experience, long drive. I don't know if I'd have to give it second thoughts to do it again. And of course, initially was the trip down was going to be split with a visit to Andy, and then we would depart from Corey Mountain Thursday and convoy over to San Luis from his place. But so I had to do both runs, the 7-hour runs on both days, arrival and departure. So that's the short version, and I had a good time. That's all I can say, but it's nice to be home. So over to you, Bob, W6AQU, W7MS.
Oh, good. Thanks, Mike. W7MS. W6AQU. Well, thanks for all the hot scoop on that meat. Sorry to hear about Andy. All right, golly. And SST, I have a question for you. You talked about being on board. That's maybe talk. You'll have to tell me about that. MQI. Well, maybe you're lucky boat. I'm going to be at Brad's. I think we missed you last year. I think that's where I first met you, was the first time at Brad's, perhaps, some years back. But I have some frequency meters. Got some 221s, and I think I got some LMs, so I'll have to dig them up and make sure I bring one for you. According to Robert, Flight 195 is already barking over here. And Bill, I could copy you this morning. But not as good, but you were there. Henry, good morning. Tom, yes, you got a good signal here also. Thanks for the report going that way. It's a single 500Z at 225 watts or something, it looks like. With a good antenna system that's been repaired again after the high winds up here. Let's see, any other comments? No, go. We're having to redo a mobile installation. We traded in our motorhome and purchased a Lance trailer, 27 foot, to pull behind our full pickup. We're starting over on installing a mobile rig in there. So that ought to be fun. And we got things worked out except for am I going to put an antenna? So look at the small speedometer. Maybe I can put it on the top of the ladder in the back. So with that, W6SST. W6 Able Queen Uncle.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Henry. WA7YBS.
Okay. Just a little tweaking and beacon. Okay. Close enough. Okay. Yeah, a lot of QRN on Bob there. Had a difficult time. And, but anyway, conditions, summer, well, not summer, but anyway, everybody else was doing quite good. Morning to Bob, or to Robert, W7MKA, good signal in here, Bill, N6BCT, Q5, and so that's the report on theirs, and Steve, yeah, 73 to Steve. And let's see. And Dave needs an LM frequency meter. I'll bring one to Brad's, a part set. It's you know, I don't have a power supply for it. Somebody hacked a I don't know, I think it's a Jones plug or something on the side of it, or I don't know. There's something that's weird about it anyway, but I believe it has the parts that you want. It's mostly there, just a little bit. Well, I'll bring it, and if you want it, you can have it. And so anyway, that'll be at Brad's. And I want to also mention 2 weeks to Cabela's. I know it's a big draw. There will be probably, I'm going to estimate about 15 to 20 sellers, probably. And of course, it's right across the street from Boomtown, and nice east parking lot there in Cabela's. And so it's May the 11th, Saturday, so it's a little less than 2 weeks. So anyway, that's the swap report. And of course, you know, Brad's is the premier and 7RCA Minden swap meet. That's the premier Nevada swap meet. So anyway, and yeah, every once in a while I have to switch around a few things on the old Viking 1. I kind of think it has a couple of really bad solder joints. I'm not sure if the guy that originally built it, probably back in 1950, if he really knew how to solder. I know he didn't know how to put components in there. They're stuck in through the eyelet in the terminals and the tie points, and the lead is just stuck through, straight, you know, not bent, not anything. Just put it in, drop a glob of solder on it, it's done. And so anyway, I've had to correct quite a few of those, that type of soldering on this. I think in the metering, I think it's still got a couple of cold solder joints or something. Meter does read, of course, but it'll vary, you know, maybe 10, 20, 30 milliamps. And depending on when you happen to look at it, and if you flick the switch around a little bit, rotate the switch, it goes back to where it should be. And so anyway, what can you do with this equipment that's, you know, 75 years old? You just keep it going the best you can. So, before the band goes out altogether, let's turn it over to Tom, WA6OPE, WA7YBS.
Okay, WA7YBS, WA6OPE, very good. Conditions are starting to deteriorate a bit, so I'll try and keep this short. Ron, I have some MAB stuff. I saw it the other day when I was digging around down there, and so I'll bring you a box of goodies to Brad's. And Dave, you're liable to be buried in LMs. I think I know I have a part set, but more than one, I think. So yeah, you'll be underneath a pile of LM freak meters on the way home. And let's see here, W7MS, thank you for the detailed report. And glad you had a good time. And it sounds like you made some money now. Oh man. And you know, these days, BC-191s are running around on the BC-375s. And it's because of the ground set, the SCR-193. There's some interest in that. Well, not much, but a little bit. And whereas the BC-375 is strictly a warbird type thing. And the chests and things that go with that SCR-193, boy, they're rare as can be. So, yeah, there's some interest in that kind of stuff, too. The SCR-193, BC-191, and the BC-312. Yeah, nice, wonderful, modern set. And, you know, most of the time they ran them, the usual top frequency for that set was 4 megs. So, you know, they're not too bad. And especially, as we kind of discovered over the years, that factory tuning units, when they came from the factory, they were pretty stable, and the FM situation wasn't really a problem, especially at 3 megs. At 2 or 3 megs, no problem at all. So, interesting set. Although on CW they still sound like a monster. Nobody's ever come up with a... Well, Brian has come up with a... I haven't heard it on CW though, I don't think. So, let's see, one more comment about the MRCG thing. It's interesting that Ryan was there, and I'd be interested, not necessarily on the air, but I'd be interested in a report on W7QHO's SK situation, and also who was the estate in Concord with a whole slug of GRC9s, 1306s, and all that kind of stuff. That's an interesting, not necessarily, no comment on the air. If you don't want to, and I won't be here when it gets back to you anyway, so how about that? Let's see, somebody wanted good morning to W7MKA. I can just tell you we're there. And I have a new noise, a new broadband crud has showed up this morning, first time, in addition to the usual. So you were covered up by the broadband crud. I tell you we're there, but no copy. We're the same thing with N6BTC, the crud. The radio crud was creeping there. TCZ report, no progress lately. It's cosmetic phase again on the actual transmitter itself. And I have panels, I have the 2 side panels and the back panel to be painted. They have to go back to black wrinkle to match everything else. Wish me luck on the black wrinkle, especially on a piece of metal that's 2.5 by 2.5 feet. Well, that'll be fun. Let's see here. Anyway, the TCG hasn't been on the air. The transmitter does work. The power supply seems to be doing fine. It's going to be interesting to see how long those relays last. We're using relays as contactors, and boy, you look through the little window and turn on the B+. Although I found a little bit better way, instead of bringing it on live, so to speak, I bring it on, turn on the B+ when it's in the AM mode, but non-push to talk, so it comes on a little easier. But if it's the CW mode, you turn on the B+, you see a big flash on these little relays. We used it. Somewhere I read recently, I think Andy found something, a history report on TCVs, and they had some trouble with them during World War II in the field along the ships. And it wasn't specified, but my guess is using relays as contactors probably didn't work too well, not for very long anyway. So we shall see what happens there. Been working on the TDE a little more. So we're continuing to work on that as catch can. And then I had to dig around in the basement, take a bunch of junk to Camp Plymouth. And now I got to put a bunch of junk back in the basement that didn't sell. And on and on and on. One thing leads to another to another. But anyway, so that'll do it for me. I think that there was something else I wanted to comment about. No, forgot what it was. Anyway, 73 everybody, this will do it for me, and I'll turn it over to Robert if you can copy me, and I doubt it. So net control, we'll see what happens. W7MKA, WA60PE.
Yeah, WA60PE and the group W7MKA. I got probably 90% of your transmission there, Tom. Okay, on all the projects there. I'm not familiar with the PE. I'll have to look that one up. And okay on on everything else there. But thanks for the San Luis Obispo swap report. That's the one that we've never made. It's quite a haul from here. Although now GER, I do really enjoy going down there. So, by loss, I'm sure. The summer on MFK closing, I had not heard that. It's a bummer because it seems like they've followed the CQ model of business of like buying out the competition. So I guess with them goes Veritron, Tektronix, Comet, iGame. Very good. I think we'll go ahead and sign with this one.
Okay, Bill, N6BCT in the group K0TWC. Alrighty, well, 7-3s to all who have signed, and I'd like to hear more about Andy if anybody knows. You know, I mean, does he have COVID real bad, or is it slight, or just curious. But God, I hope he's doing okay. So maybe I can shoot him an email, find out. But okay, well guys, let's go ahead and do the 7-3 round, and we'll call it a net here. So we'll start the 7-3 round now, guys, and send it back up to Ron, NU6F, K0DW6. 7-3 round, fellas.
Okay, good deal, Chuck. Yeah, conditions allow changing, but I did copy everybody except for Bill. And okay, Chuck, on your Bendix radio madness. Oh, you may want to go ahead and make that your niche, Bendix radios. And Tom, if you're still around, that's great on the MAB stuff. If you got anything, as I was telling my plant, it's completely our original, except missing that power supply. I really would like to have the original vibrator supply, and then just use a pair of lithium ions in the battery for the battery side. But yeah, that would be because I was kind of intrigued by that. I says it was they thought had to think outside of the box to make that thing. So it'd be nice to get that one original. But yeah, let's see. The other thing was I was thinking of Henry this last week. Larry's M37 truck. One of the things that was annoying was we can't seem to find a decent oil pressure gauge. He bought a new old stock one and it didn't work from day one. And I bought one off eBay and it didn't work. And let the guy know it was open. He sent me another one, and yeah, that one worked. It was a 120 pound instead of 60. I took apart the other one, the new old stock, and I was kind of intrigued by that. I guess it's common for oil pressure gauges, but there's no spring return on it. It's got two coils. It's got a forward coil and a buck coil. And the sending unit, and one is series, the buck one is in series, the forward moving one is actually in parallel. And when in its spinning unit, when it shorts out that one, why it doesn't want to go forward, but when it opens up, why that coil takes over. I took it apart anyhow, and yeah, sure enough, that coil was burned open. And of course, it's tiny, and I was thinking, you know, Henry would rewind this. Well, I won't fix the burn spot, put it back together, it doesn't any good. Now that I see what resistance is supposed to be, I'm going to go back in that, take that thing apart, and since I got time on my hands, I'm going to rewind that. Or if I can't, I'll send it to Henry, because he needs another project. All right, guys, good to have everybody in there, and Mike, that's pretty cool on the on Bjorn's deal on the World War I aviation radios. I would have enjoyed that. Here lately, I was just been kind of Googling with something stuck in my head, and I thought it's pretty ingenious. All right, guys, 73s, Bob, keep Montague on the radio map, and let's see. With that, I'll go ahead and pass it over to Mike. No, Dave, you're still here. W6MQI, NU6F. Listening out.
Alrighty, Ron. W6MQI. And let's see. Chuck. Not really an update on Andy, but I did work him Friday afternoon. We were trying to make contact with the MRCG meet, which didn't happen, or the field ops anyway. And he was feeling crappy, but he was able to get on the air. I mean, we did made CW contact and a brief AM contact. So he is alive. I don't know how he's feeling right now, but that's the only information I have on Andy. And guys, Tom and Henry, yeah, the LM or whatever frequency meter, I'm looking for the variable cap that's in there, a couple other parts. So whatever you have, just so you know, I am not going to try and restore the meter. It's going to get cannibalized, so just a warning. So anyway, guys, I think that was it. So I'm going to go inside, get the XYL. Oh, the XYL is going to come with me, too, to N7 RCA. I'm going to try and get her to come to the swap, but we'll see. She may hang out at the hotel, but I'll try and bring her. So 73, everybody, and talk to you guys next week. And now it goes to Mike, W7MS, W6MQI.
Okay, well, thanks, Dave. W6MQI, W7MS, and the Sunday Morning Military Net. Well, great conversation here. And, Tom, I'll just give you a phone call, and you can query me on specific details or what all. And as far as Andy goes, when the trip was being canceled because the COVID tests were in play on the diagnosis before the ultimate, he was feeling really, really bad. But in subsequent conversations, it was obviously in the recovery mode, and I've got to touch base with him to also give him the MRCG wrap-up on the landline version of the conversation, but where I can cut loose with all editorial comment without any retribution or offense. But other than the fat guy who was rude, who shall remain nameless, but he knows who he is wherever he is. But let me see. With that 7-3s, and also for Dave, I was assuming, reading between the lines, that if your wife is coming, that maybe you're going to also be looking at some real estate in the Douglas County area. So maybe I'll start that rumor. I don't know if it's true or not, but I have a suspicion. But and great to hear everyone, and up to Bob in Montague, W6AQU, W7MS.
Very good, Mike. W7MS, W6AQU. Very good, all the way around. And 7-3s to the majority here have signed already. We'll also sign on the boots and get out there and do some weed eating. Well, good morning to all. W7YBS. WA7YBS. This is W6 Able Queen Buckle. Good morning.
Okay. W6AQU, WA7YBS. Very good. Yeah, winding coils there, Ron. That's my favorite thing about. And even this receiver that I'm using right now, the NC183, the primary, the first RF coil, the antenna coil, is burned on this one. And what I did was I took a rubber grommet and I wound some, I think it was number 34 gauge wire, make a primary on a rubber grommet. I shoved it down in the middle of the coil barrel and connected up the primary that way. And it works. But, you got to do what you got to do. And it was just the broadcast band, and who listens to that anyway? That's only for demos. So anyway, understand, Dave, on the LM, that it's, and believe me, the one I'm intending on bringing is, well, it's only good for parts, and I'm sure it has what you need, but, like Tom says, you're probably going to have several to choose from. So anyway, we'll see at Brad's. And when is that? June the 1st. June the 1st for Brad's. And so with that, I'll say 73, and it looks like Tom and Robert have signed, so I guess it goes to Bill. And 6BCTWA7YBS. Go ahead, Bill.
All righty. Well, thank you, Dave, and thank you, Mike, for info on Andy. Appreciate that, and I hope he's doing well. He's the first case I've heard of in months. But anyway, we want to wish him the best. So hopefully he'll be in good enough shape by Brad's. Anyway, to get to Brad's if he's going to go. I hope he does. So anyway, all right, fellas. Good luck this morning. Like Mike said, a lot of good conversation, and definitely appreciate all you gentlemen being there. And I want to thank you for that. And Henry will be net control next week. Henry and I are back on schedule now. So anyway, I'll shut her down now. This is K0DWC, and I'll be shutting down the Vintage Military Radio Net for today, and would like to thank everyone again for their participation and invite everybody back excuse me, next Sunday morning. So with that, we'll turn the frequency back over to regular use, and you gentlemen have a good day today. Enjoy the sunshine, and have a good week ahead, and we'll talk to you all next Sunday. So take care, guys, and thanks again. This is K0DWC, Dayton, Nevada, and I'm signed. 7 Trust.